Hello, everyone. Hello. We have just had this amazing, generous introduction. But you know what? We have got no clue who you are. So let's just do a little bit of let's get to know each other. Who of you is actually from Glasgow? Woo! Okay. Who of you went to the climate negotiations, to the COP today? And who of you was in the streets protesting? Okay. So you know what? We were just talking about responsible leadership. This is responsible leadership. So thank you for fighting for the good cause. Excellent. And now let me introduce these amazing people to you. We've got a distinguished panel, starting with, and you know what? This is the first time in my life that I've been on a stage with a princess. We've got Her Royal Highness Princess Abze from Burkina Faso. Please, applause.
How are you, Glasgow? I love Glasgow. Whoa, 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 whoa. That's fantastic.
And we've got Gonzalo Munoz, and he is a high-level climate champion. He was a high-level climate champion for COP25, and he still is a high-level climate champion, and he's going to explain to us what it is in just a minute. And we have got Alex Paris, to my right. And isn't it amazing to be called Paris as your surname when you work on the Paris Climate Agreement with the UNFCCC, with the UN Climate Change Secretariat. Big applause to Alex. Now, I already know what these three people have in common. It's lots of things. You are alliance builders, you are social and environmental entrepreneurs, you are change makers. And we now want to learn a few things from you, because everyone in the room wants to be a change maker too, as we have just seen in the little poll we've taken. May I just start with Her Highness and find out from you, I was just saying I've never been on a stage with a princess before. And I'm just curious, I can imagine that a princess can do more about climate change than me as a, Sabrina. So I'm just wondering, how are you making use of your position to fight climate change, to fight for ambitious climate action? Over to you.
Thank you very much. That is a great question, and thank you. First, I would like to say good evening to my brothers and sisters from Glasgow. How are you? Thank you for your hospitality. Thank you for having us. Because, of course, the cause of climate is critical. It's about ourselves. But the good news is that we got the right information with my brother right here. We have the key performance indicators to do better. This is additional information. So coming back to your question, nobody chooses his parents. Happen to be that mine is a king, so that's obviously I'm a princess. So you don't choose that. That comes with responsibility. And of course, I take my responsibility. Being a princess is that you are at the service of your community. And it's not my community serving me, I'm at their service. And to answer to your question, how am I using that position? Is to being action-oriented. And I started with, as an engineer, design a solar lantern just to have our kids, that they can make their homework at night. I started like that. And now we went broader with the Mama Light Initiative, who has been recognized by the United Nations in 2015 as one of the 14 breakthrough solutions achieving the SDGs. Because I was convinced that I'm the solution. Then I'm not waiting to be saved. And that is the message here from my brothers and sisters from Glasgow that I love from the bottom of my heart. We are all part of the solution. What is decided in the blue zone or green zone, it's about us. You just share a little piece of the trust to us, and we need to let you know that you were right giving us the authority to represent you and to negotiate. Of course, it's not easy. I know a champion here, I can tell you, he doesn't sleep. Since he started, he don't sleep, and we as negotiators, we can spend 30 hours without sleeping to get the point right. But we want you to give us the positive energy and stay positive. Everything is not bad. I will stop there because I can just talk forever. Thank you.
Staying positive, I'm sure that's not always easy when you follow the climate negotiations. Now, Alex, to my right, he has been following the climate negotiations for how many years? For 20 years. It's essentially been all of his professional life that he's been working on this cause. I'm very curious to find out, Alex, did you find your mission? Or did your mission find you? How come you are in this business?
Hi, Sabrina. Thank you for this excellent question. Before answering to this question, I just want to say thank you for this amazing opportunity, for this invitation. I would like to thank the organizers of this. I want to thank you, every single one of you, for being here. And I want to thank you, Princess, Abze, Digma, the high-level climate champion, Gustavo Munoz. But to your question, I was reflecting about this question. Did I choose my mission, or did my mission choose me? And I think it's both. I think anyone can relate to a stage in your life that you're searching for a purpose, so you're searching for a mission. But in a way, in serendipity, you find people, you find friends, you find professors, you find mentors. And I just want to share a quick story. About 20 years ago, when I met a professor that became one of my most influential persons who made me decide to dedicate my life to climate change. So his name is Dr. Giovan Meira Filho. He was the vice president of the IPCC and one of the lead negotiators of Brazil for the Kyoto Protocol and the Article 12. And one of the most important things that he used to do was to translate a complex system, the negotiations or the science, in an easy way. And he did that through stories. So I'll share a quick story with you. So imagine you are in a very fancy restaurant, and then an American and a British guy are already at the table, and also an European and a Japanese. And they order the starter, very expensive restaurant. Then they order again the main dish. Okay, and now it's time for dessert. And then it arrives late, a Chinese person. He said, "Can I join you?" So the Chinese join only for the dessert. But the Chinese order a very expensive dessert. And he joins the table. And then they are eating dessert together. And then join someone from Brazil, and they finish with the dessert. But the Brazilians, like me, we love coffee. So we order the coffee. And they are all drinking coffee together with the Brazilian. And now they are drinking coffee. And then after the coffee, he comes running, a friend from Somalia. And the Somalia is like sweating because he came running. So he asked for like a glass of water, like tap water. And he sits on the table and he drinks water. And then when he finishes his water, the waiter comes to the table and he asks everyone at the table, "How are we going to split this bill?" This is what is happening at the negotiations. Okay, so seeing as I started 20 years ago, climate change was considered an environmental issue. 10 years ago, climate change became a development issue. Now, climate change is a survival issue, is an existential issue. That's why we are here. Okay, thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you, Alex. Now we come to our high-level champion, because I would assume that the job of a high-level champion is to do something about this big question of survival. So let me just ask you, we all need to understand, what does a high-level climate champion do?
Thank you so much, and thanks to the BMW Foundation and FIS and the organizer for setting the room. Amazing, brilliant. I mean, it's not hard, it's not easy to set everything in the COVID times from away, and you always can do it. So amazing, thanks so much. As Alex was referring to, we are in a situation where we need to solve a massive crisis. And we, as the same thing as what happened with the COVID, we expect that the nations reach an agreement and solve it, right? That's what we tend to do all the time. We expect the parents to tell the kids what they have to do. Well, what happened is that the parents, in this case, the states, already reached an agreement. It's the Paris Agreement that people like Alex was there, Princess was there, like we have an agreement, we know what we have to do. In Paris, they said, okay, but when it comes to implementing such an agreement, we require the government of Scotland, the city of Glasgow, the company that owns this place, the one that produces this event, the one that produces the electricity or the food or the drink or the cell phone that you have in your hand. Yeah. We need those called non-state actors. Mostly the subnational governments where this action needs to be implemented, and of course, the private sector that has the capacity of moving sometimes much more faster than what sometimes the national governments can do. So the world decided that since Paris, every year, an ambassador of climate moving those subnational governments from all around the world and that private sector from all around the world will be named. And I have the privilege of being the fifth of those global ambassadors mobilizing the private sector and the subnational governments for the last 3 years.
Wow.
And the work that we need to do is never to think that we will repair them. We will do the work of the nations. We will not replace them. We will complement the work that they do. But most important, we will activate what is called the ambition loop. And keep that idea in your minds. In some countries, it happens that you might have a governor, a government, a prime minister, or a president that is not necessarily well aware of the sense of urgency and might not be doing the right type of work. Shall we then wait until the next government? The opposite. That is the exact moment when the subnational governments and the private sector and the civil society must take the hands and push for more ambition and implement the action. If we do that, then that is detected by the national government. They say, holy shit, we have to move faster and forward, and that therefore activates the ambition loop. What is happening nowadays is that we are having an impressive incremental of action coming from those non-state actors, and those people are now activating the ambition loop in a way that is now allowing the nations to say we cannot be like secondary in this role. So that's the moment when we are in history. Honestly, expect the nations to just fulfill the Paris Agreement, to deliver on the promise, and let us do the work on pushing for acceleration of that process. That's what we need to do. Each one of us have a role to play in that sense.
Wow, thank you. So you all understand what it means to be a climate champion. It means that every single one of you has got a role to play in all of this. Thank you for the encouragement. Now you were talking about, well, obviously, citizens taking the lead, putting pressure on governments. But if I may turn back to the princess. Now, Your Highness, I just imagine that even your home country, it's not always that easy to convince everyone, to get everyone on board when it comes to cutting emissions, because your country is not producing any for start. You need to make sure that you're embarking on a process of economic development that's not producing emissions. So how are you talking to your fellow citizens? And I was asking, what are the citizens of Burkina Faso called? Would any of you know? You told me.
Burkina Faso.
Burkina Faso. Voilà.
Merci.
So, how are you talking to them about climate change? Because this would be kind of different. Would it be different from what Gonzalo just told our crowd here?
And you know, as a traditional leader, we are traditional authorities. As I said in the beginning, we are at the service of our people. You know, climate change, I'm from the Sahel, and we use to really mitigate, manage Mother Nature on our side. Then we have local solutions to save water. We don't need to learn to import those knowledge. We know how to treat drought. I was talking in one of the panel at the UNFCCC pavilion to exchange South-South cooperation. They know in the Sahel, in the raining season, it can rain like you open all the vents and the water come like that. But how the hell can I keep that water? But I will learn it from my brothers from Brazil, who find a way to store the water and to reuse it when they need it. But at the moment, they also have issue with drought. But on our side in the Sahel, we know how to, with my traditional way of doing, we know how to, from a desert, to make a forest. And we got a great example with, I call him my dad. People were saying that it was crazy. He planted 40 hectares. From a desert, it's become a forest. It's not a fairy tale. I invite you in Burkina Faso, you will see it. Those are concrete examples. It has been awarded by the Nobel Prize, Alternative Prize. Those are solutions from the south. That can go from the north. But by the way, when is the globe is... Thank you. The globe is round. Where is the south and where is the north? You know, where... you know, that's... And just to push a little bit the idea how we do that. In our tradition, every evening you have the kids sitting around in the cycle, and everybody has his take to share. What is the idea? And we take the ideas into account. It's more or less what the municipality is doing. It's the first, your mayor is the first rescue man. And I will end, moderator, I'm sorry for taking the time. Everyone needs to go voting. At the end of the day, it's legal framework, it works. Take your rights. Go vote and ask to your municipality, how green is the program that the power is it's in yours. And his alpha role that you give to him comes with responsibility. And if it's not good, out. Yeah.
Thank you so much for this empowering message. Now, I would like to hear from our people from, let's say, within the system, what this whole climate COP is actually contributing, because maybe sometimes we are focusing too much on the negative and not on the actual progress that's happening. So within 1 minute, Alex will now tell us what the highlights at this COP have been already.
Okay, in 1 minute. But before I start my minute, I want to quote this great band, Coronel Mustard. So they said, everybody belong, and this is your time. So I want to start with that. So this first week of COP was a roller coaster, ups and downs. And being part of the organizer, you can imagine the pressure that we've been through, and you know there are mistakes, there are criticisms, but what inspired me the most was, yesterday was the Youth Day. Yes. And yesterday I met the youngest delegate at COP. So please, can you show a video that I took in the UNFCCC pavilion? So this is the youngest delegate of COP. So that's why... He's at COP. He's 1 year old. So just to conclude, I want to say the last quote is from a Brazilian musician, rock and roll, Raul Seixas. So a dream, if you dream a dream alone, is just a dream. But if you dream a dream together, that's reality. Thank you.
Now to conclude this inspiring round, I want our climate champion Gonzalo to tell us once more what it actually is that means, what actually means progress to you. You know, when you started back in January 2019, things were very different. What's different today? What has this process actually contributed?
Well, thanks so much, and I think that is important also to reflect on why it's important to take perspective. Many times we're just confused by watching the frame, watching the picture of today, and that will take our vision to the remaining part, to what is missing, and therefore we'll focus in the problem, and we will get blocked. If we see the film, we will also see the progress. We will see the challenges, not to be naive, but we will see the progress, and if we see the progress, we will check the opportunity, and therefore we'll be empowered. In 2019, we've just received, in October, indeed 3 years ago, we received for the first time the scientists of the world giving us a real opportunity to solve the crisis. That's the 1.5 degree report. Many of you have heard about the 1.5 being the increase of temperature that we need to reach at the maximum level. So if we recognize that we are in an illness called the climate crisis, and the doctors, being the scientists that have absolutely agreed on this is a man-made cause, and mostly man more than women, man-made crisis. That crisis, that illness is offering a possibility of cure if we reach the 1.5 degrees. The treatment has been there for 3 years. It means reaching net zero emissions by 2050 at the very latest. What does it mean? Emitting less than or the same that nature can sequester back. And continue increasing. Stop destroying nature and start regenerating nature. In January 2019, we just received this report, and you know what? We were absolutely silent about that. The process was not capable of really embedding that as the unique opportunity. If I go back 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, so let's go to maybe June 2019, we realized that the best opportunity we had was exactly what I was explaining you before. Mobilize the private sector and the subnational government, the civil society, but concretely towards that goal. So we decided to plant that as the seed of opportunity inside that community worldwide. 2.5 years ago, we have 10 companies committed to that. We had 0 investors, 0 community of financial institutions committed to that. We had about 20 cities, and that was it. Today, we have more than 5,500 companies. We have more than 1,000 cities, more than 1,000 universities. Now, and I'm going now to a gala with the big subnational regions that now represent more than half of the population. States like California or Scotland or Catalonia or the state of São Paulo are now committed to the 1.5 degrees. We have now financial institutions representing $130 trillion. 130 trillion. Do you know the amount of money that is in the world? Some people will reflect in between 200 and 300 trillion dollars. 130 of them went from 0 2.5 years ago to be fully committed to that trajectory of net zero by 2050, meaning your bank, your pension fund, your insurance company have signed an agreement following science, formally against the United Nations, that they will have no money from now to 2030 that at least have reduced 50% of their emissions and they will reach net zero by 2050. That is a major, massive, not only change, but an opportunity for now the member state, the nations, to regulate that. That's where we are today, and that is happening in that venue because of the action that we are mobilizing together.
Thank you.
And 14,500 hospitals. This is a health topic as well.
So we finally understand what leadership in the climate space is all about. It's about all of us and see what can come out of these processes. We only have this process, let's make use of it, let's support it. And I do not want to leave this stage tonight before actually knowing not just one, but a second 1.5 ambition champion, because you all see the pin that Gonzalo is wearing. Gonzalo has this 1.5 champion thingy on his jacket. We're going to have a second champion tonight. So Gonzalo.
So thank you so much. We in the high-level climate champions team, we're 2 champions, but a broader team of more than 100 people. Daniel Erario here is one of our main fantastic team members. And within the team, we have a tradition that I started back in Madrid when I had the opportunity of joining King Felipe. And I had the opportunity and the honor of decorating Prince Felipe with the honor of the 1.5 degrees. And now I will have the honor of decorating you, Princess, as a member of the honor of the 1.5 degrees. So if I may, can I pin it into your lapel? No, may I? So I had the honor of decorating Prince Charles this week. And this is the first time I'm decorating a princess. It's my honor to name you part of the order of the 1.5 degrees.
Thank you so much, everyone, for being here tonight. Thank you so much to everyone sharing their stories with you here on the stage. Now, you want to say something?
Yes.
Go.
If you allow me, moderator, so that my voice gets, it's not fair. So I want to thank BMW for this. This is truly walking the talk. It's about us. We're not doing that to be recognized. It's about us and our next generation, our kids, that they can say, you use the word pioneer because it's continuous. And all of us here are part of the pioneers. Thank you, really, from the bottom of my heart. And I'll quote my grandma, if you touch and you don't know what to say, just say thank you. I would just say thank you.
Thank you.
I'm out of speech. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your inspiring stories. What I'm taking away from this exchange now is let's keep an open heart, let's keep an open mind, and let's have a really amazing time tonight. This is your party. Enjoy, and thank you so much for being here.